This is the Reverend.
The theme here.
Gray Mouse 1.
From Very 515.
Yep, once again, now the four middle-aged guys bullshitting about nothing. Lots of things going on in the world of video games. We found out this week earlier the price of PlayStation VR, which was $399.99, $400, along with the HTC Vive, which retails at $799.99, $800, and the Oculus Rift, which is now announced that it's retailing for $699.99, $700.
$700.
Yeah, we pretty much got ourselves the gamut of your general VR roundup for what's coming out later on this year. The Vive actually is supposed to be out as soon as April, I believe. Now, the funny thing about this is that what a lot of people think is that, okay, so I'm going to go get the headset, and I'm going to hook it up to my PC, or I'm going to hook it up to my PS4, I'm going to hook it up wherever, and then I'm just off to the races, right? Well, not if you want the full VR experience, all right? If you followed any of our previous videos, you might have noticed that when we're breaking things down, we're talking about how there are other costs involved. For instance, and you've probably heard this already, that the Oculus Rift at 700 bones is also already a pretty pricey piece of hardware. But if you want an actual PC to go ahead and run the games that you're going to go ahead and play in VR, then if you're going to part that out and put it together right now, you're probably going to spend around 1,600 bones on that PC. All right. Reason being is that if you want the full VR experience, full HD, you've got to run the equivalent of twin 1080p screens, all right, at 120 hertz in order to get that VR experience, basically a full 1080p view, 3D in your face at 60 frames. All right. Yeah, there's actually a lot of other costs involved, which we want to go ahead and actually take the time to discuss for those who might be discerning enough to go ahead and sit through this video. All right. Before we do that, thoughts around the table, everybody. What you are, what you think, and what you're expecting from all this this new fandangle VR stuff. These young kids are going to be going out and playing.
Well, for me, I think VR is a nice thing. I do think it's an interesting thing, especially depending on what genre games that you're going to be playing, especially the horror genre. I mean, you could really get immersed into the area. Think of PT, for example, in 3D, in virtual reality. You know, I mean, it scared the shit out of people just on their systems. What do you think it'll do if you're actually placed in that hallway doing those things and hearing those sounds and stuff as you're going through the game? To me, I think it's just a niche right now that, you know, I don't know. I'm just not ready to jump on board the virtual reality train. It's certainly, no, I'm not even standing at the station at this point, to be honest with you. But that's just my personal opinion. I mean, as technology increases or, you know, advances, and then hopefully the technology will become a lot more cheaper, you know, I'll be in for it. But at this particular point in time, I can't afford VR.
Anyone else?
As far as I'm concerned, looking down the line, I see a whole lot of people buying a whole bunch of expensive headwear that's just going to be useless after a certain point.
Here's a theory thought. Hold that. I'll let you. A lot of the HTC and both HTC and Oculus, their pre-orders are filled. Think about that for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Continue on.
No. I know they're full.
Yeah.
I understand that there's going to be a whole bunch of people who's going to buy them.
Yeah.
But after a while, people are going to stop making games for them. I mean, it's a good idea now. It's a fun idea now. So was the Kinect when it first came out. And look how that ended up.
6 companies closed. I'm just saying.
Games are not. Eventually, most people aren't going to be picking up VR. Not only because of its price, but because it's not one of those things that a lot of people are going to be into.
The thing about it is, number one, kids are not going to be buying this thing. I don't even think that a lot of kids are going to be asking for it. All things considering. Then you have casual gamers. They're not going to spend all of this money. Look, if we do see grandmothers and grandfathers with VR helmets on, that will be something.
We're going to see a lot of falling accidents if that happens.
I was just about to say, I don't think that will be.
See, the thing with that though, I think this VR thing is actually more targeted towards the millennials. Because if you think about it, a millennial right now, if you were born in 2000, right? So you're already 16 years old, right? So I think this VR thing is, the whole campaign is targeted for that particular demographic. Because, I mean, look.
I actually disagree with that.
I can't co-sign to that one either. I mean, put it this
when
way:
when you actually think about
how many millennials do you know that can shell out between $1,000 and $2,500 on video games, not counting games?
That's one thing. The second thing is, who has been looking forward to VR for this long period of time? We experienced that.
Well, I mean, yeah, absolutely. The 35, 40-year-olds, the 45-year-olds, absolutely. But what I'm saying is that I'm looking ahead. I'm looking like 5 years ahead, just like Theory was talking about. You know, like this technology might not even exist. You know, just headsets sitting on the shelf in the next 2 or 3 years. But on the other side of that coin, that the millennials will be 20 years old, be maybe having their jobs by then. But I mean,
they have short attention spans as it is.
I know they do. But I'm just saying. I really think. I don't know, man. I don't know what I think anymore, to be honest with you.
Well, go ahead and wrap up your thoughts, Steve, before I jump in.
Sorry.
Because the thing about it is, look who. I'm like, all right, look. Who's been dreaming about virtual reality? Who's been wanting virtual reality? Who has been thinking about, oh my God, virtual reality will be absolutely the shit if it ever shows up? You had, children of the late 70s and the early 80s and the 80s and stuff like that grew up with fucking gaming. We saw the climate change with gaming. We saw the graphical enhancements. We saw wireless controllers. We saw fucking power pads, power gloves, zappers. We saw all this shit, and then you saw the Virtual Boy. That obviously didn't work. So now, this is its second coming, literally. So now now people are embracing that because the technology is finally here. It's finally ready, and it's finally actually feasible to actually dish out. It's not advertised wrong for the most part. It's advertised to go on your fucking shit. You see the fucking shit right there. People are just not aware of what you're going to actually need besides the thing that goes on your head.
The overall cost.
Yeah, I mean, you sit there and you're so deep in the shit, you gotta wear goggles in your face, otherwise it's gonna get all over you. That's how it feels. Okay?
The thing is, too, is that what about the negative effect? Man, I'm not even.
Over your head.
No, it didn't. I just
You wanted to dismiss that.
No, I just wanted to move on, man.
I know you wanted to.
I was like, shoot. It didn't go over my head. I heard exactly. But what are the negative effects of VR? I mean, because gamers, they're gonna play games for hours. An hour. No, besides that. Well, is it gonna cause migraines like the Virtual Boy did? Is there gonna be a sticker on the headset saying "Do not wear for more than 5 hours"? I mean, is that going? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but there's a difference between 5 hours and 30 minutes.
Yeah,
you're right. But you know damn well that gamers play games more than 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's a few things to consider. All right, and just to go ahead and throw my 2 cents in with my thoughts. I think VR, this is something that's kind of inevitable, kind of like digital distribution for games. I'm not excited about either idea, but guess what? It's inevitable. All right, the industry is moving that way. It's no coincidence that we've got 3 big fucking companies all pushing for the same thing at the same time. All right. You know, I'm not sure if it's aimed at the millennials, because I tell you what, if I've got a kid and they're able to go ahead and shell out $1,600 or anywhere from $400 to $800 for a one-time purchase, guess what? They're paying me fucking rent. All right, that's just how it is. Okay. You know, so I'm not sure if it's purely for the millennials. All right. You know, a lot of the folks with the disposable income are actually willing to go out of their way to do this. Are going to be the people in the over 30 crowd. All right. That's the reality of it. Okay. But the thing about what a lot of people don't consider is that when you're actually got the VR setup, you've got to consider a lot more than just the console you're playing it with or the platform you're playing with it if you have a PC, and the goggles. All right. There's a lot of other things to consider. If you want the full VR, you know, hey, I can actually, it'll track my movements and I can run around and do things and all of that other stuff. If you want basically the setup that they had in E3 2015, where the guy was pretty much on the circular skid plate, running around and jumping and ducking and everything like a jackass, you know, that skid plate itself, that's probably going to cost you another $400. Okay. The other thing that you have to worry about is that if you're dependent on something like the PlayStation Eye or the Kinect. Did I say that? Yeah, I did. Okay. Or the Kinect or anything else that's going to sit there and track any sort of movement or anything like that, you've got to have room. All right. So a lot of people are going to sit there. They're going to fall into a thing where it's like, fuck, I can't game in my bedroom anymore. They're going to need a good 12, 13 feet away from wherever their display is at or wherever the camera is set up in order for them to go ahead and actually implement the motion controls. All right. So you got motherfuckers who are not only going to sit there and decide that they need a new console, which, like we said, with the Oculus Rift, that's a $1,600 minimum PC right now if you're putting it together for you to go ahead and be able to run the Oculus Rift the way that it's supposed to be run. All right. The HTC Vive is supposedly spec'd out higher than the Oculus Rift. All right.
Yeah. And it's also boasting those 2 cameras that maps the entire size of the room.
Exactly. So you need space and you need a playable area. Okay. There's actually a few.
That's kind of funny because most people that have PCs don't have them in open spaces like that.
No.
Most people have PCs in a computer area or a computer room or maybe a man cave that's not very large.
And this is why Oculus was actually a viable idea for virtual reality at the time, because you could just plug it in and sit in front of a desk and be fine.
Yeah.
You know, with Vive and HoloLens and PSVR, you need that space because you've got that extra camera tracking.
Yeah. You know, and it's one of those things. The only thing that the Oculus setup doesn't have is that it doesn't have camera tracking like any sort of motion controls. All right. The moment they go ahead and they implement that or they make that supplemental to the actual gameplay experience, guess what? You're leaving your bedroom. All right. That's just how it is. And you're gonna need a lot bigger space than what I have right here. Fuck, I'm only sitting like maybe 28 inches from the camera right now. Okay. Now, I mean, sure, I've got a lot of rooms in this house, but my living room is already taken up for that stuff. And guess what? I don't want to break anything in my living room flailing my arms around like a fucking retarded idiot. You know?
I was gonna say the same thing. What about you? And what about your animals in the house? There's gonna be a lot of shit in the way in order to freaking work this thing and work it properly and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I mean,
you're gonna need about a 20-foot room. I mean, just you're gonna be in a big room.
You're gonna be playing 2 players. If both of you if there are 2 people or 3 people that can afford that shit that's in the same house, then goddamn it, you're fucking privileged. I'm gonna just say it. But 2 players in the same room in the same house. Oh, God.
Somebody's gonna die.
Oh, God. Don't do those fucking music game shits again. I just thought about that. Wearing helmets, doing music videos, and no.
I mean, is it even compatible with more than one player in the same room? Has any information came out about that?
You know, the thing with that is that majority of the time, as far as I believe with a lot of the multiplayer goes, if it's on PC, everybody's going to have their own dedicated screen. All right, that means they're going to need their own dedicated PC to go ahead and run it. Okay?
That's the point that I'm making. I mean, seriously, if you got 2 people in the same room,
you're gonna have to have for the PlayStation VR. Sorry,
I don't see you running multiplayer on the same console in VR.
Yeah,
that's,
so you're gonna
that's
have to have
the point that I'm making.
2 PS4s, 2 PSVRs.
Yeah.
2 PCs. Are you serious?
Because here's the thing. Theoretically, if we're supposed to be getting a supposed PS4.5 to run a VR machine, chances are it's not going to be able to run 2 of them.
Yeah, not at the same time. No, that's...
If you need a 4.5 just to run 1.
Yeah.
So having that been said, if it's multiplayer, it's going to have to be on separate consoles.
So what's going to happen is that what's going to happen if you're in the same house? So one person is going to be in VR, and the other one's going to be sitting on the couch watching it on their TV.
Yeah.
With a controller.
That's kind of like the way multiplayer is online now.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Right.
On the same fucking team.
You're right. Couch co-op.
That's exactly what console manufacturers want you to do, is to have more than one console in your house. All right? Let's be honest. Okay.
But what about the HTC Vive and the fucking Oculus Rift? What about the PC thing? Is that going to be the same thing? Or you're going to need 2 fucking high-power PCs and 2 of those fucking devices?
Yep.
Fuck no.
Yeah.
Look,
but at the same time, as far as I know, only people with a lot of disposable income and or YouTubers are going to be playing things on VR.
The Let's Play guys?
Yeah.
I mean, even then, the funny thing about that is that the folks who actually watch the Let's Play videos that are in VR, they're not going to get the experience. All right? It's not going to work out. They're going to see 2 mirrored images that are next to each other, and unless they want to go ahead and, give themselves a bout of self-induced photosensitive epilepsy, they're not going to see the flickering or oscillation.
Well, I've seen a couple of people run VR on as far as YouTubers go, and what they do is they'll record what's on their computer screen rather than what's on the headset.
No, I have no choice.
One thing. Yeah.
No.
So it's never the whole I gotta pay attention to both of these screen kind of situations.
Yeah. So far we've got not only the price of the goggles, all right, we've got the price of the rig platform that you're running. Okay. If there's any other extra peripherals, and then physical setup. If you've got if you're planning on implementing motion controls, all right. So we've got a whole bunch of other things. But there's another thing that was brought up that Grey Mouse actually mentioned in the previous video, is that, so what happens, what about the actual experience? What type of adverse things have people actually noticed about folks who have gone out of their way to test this stuff, all right? I'm looking at an article from PC Gamer from earlier this year, and it's entitled "The Dangers of Bad Virtual Reality." All right, let me go ahead and share the screen for you guys, so you'll have an idea of what I'm looking at. All right. Okay, and this one was written actually. Actually, this is all the way back in 2015. Okay, so we can go ahead and we can take that, since they've been testing this for a long time before they're actually putting it on the market. They've got recorded cases and experiences of people actually going ahead and doing these things, okay? One of the things that they have, nausea and headache.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I'm old enough to remember the Virtual Boy. In fact, I think all of us are old enough to remember the Virtual Boy. But I've actually had the distinguished privilege of doing call center work for Nintendo, where I've actually walked people through to actually tune that thing so that they can avoid getting headaches within like 3 fucking minutes. Okay. I'm pretty sure that unless they have these things gauged correctly, yeah, you're gonna probably experience some sort of nausea. A lot of people do with first-person shooters, anyways, because it's just the moving objects on screen. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's see here. The other things that other people have mentioned. All right, and a lot of things were things about the motion itself, but I believe some of the other things that they mentioned on their feedback was that there were stories, and this relates back to being able to go ahead and what's that? Having the actual space around you. People hitting bystanders when they're doing the motion controls. All right. Also, folks who were beta testing at home, dropping objects on things that weren't there. All right, like trying to set up equipment on desks that weren't there because they forgot they're in VR. Okay, dropping objects on fucking animals that were at their feet and pets. Okay, breaking things. All right, people falling because they're walking around not conscious of their particular surroundings. Okay, and tripping over and falling and shit like that. So yeah, when you're thinking about VR as far as dedicated goes, it's one of those things where you've got to sit there and think, hey, there's a lot of shit that you got to sit there and think about. It's not just the cost is not just the headset and not just the platform. It's a whole bunch of things. And I tell you what, if I have to rearrange my fucking living room in order to use one fucking peripheral for one fucking game,
one fucking game.
So what are the adverse effects of like after wearing it for 5-6 hours or whatever coming out of it?
Most likely headaches from neck strain.
Oh yeah, headaches, migraines.
So, I mean, are you seeing things that are not there? I mean, like you took off the goggles, whatever, and you're walking around. Are you not seeing things now? I mean, are you seeing things that don't exist? Like you're trying to put a glass on a virtual table? I mean, do you have that kind of effects coming out of that?
I doubt it.
No, I mean what I do know as somebody who sits there and stares at monitors all day, these are definitely going to come with some sort of warning label on them where they're going to completely tell you, do not play this for extended periods of time. All right.
Yeah, who's gonna listen to that shit?
Yeah. There is the whole threat of prolonged eyesight damage and stuff like that. Because, well, keep in mind, you are looking at a screen from like maybe a few inches from your face.
Yep.
People
and
still look at solar eclipses when they know will damage eyes.
I mean, you might as well take your phone, put it on the brightest fucking setting, and just stare at it like this. Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah.
It seems like it's more negative than positive to me. It's just not worth it.
Well, it's one of those things where
the games for a very long period of time anyway.
Yeah, you're not supposed
to. Another thing too. Are those games gonna last?
I don't see 40-50 plus hour games.
No,
I don't see somebody playing like a GTA in VR
unless
like 200-300 hours
are not built for VR and they're just gonna come out on the console anyway, and they have a VR option. But games made specifically for virtual reality, I don't see them being very, very fucking long games.
No.
I don't see JRPGs or any RPGs for that matter.
Oh, no. You're not going to get an RPG on a VR. You'll probably get a lot of shooters and a lot of horror games. But even then, if anything...
Fallout and Skyrim are done in first person, man.
Yeah, done in first person. But I'm not sure if they'll make it to VR. I mean, it'd be interesting if Elder Scrolls did make it to VR. Because I'm sorry, getting eaten by a dragon in first person sounds terrifying.
Yeah.
But it would be interesting. I don't think a lot of people would survive the vertigo from standing on top of certain mountains.
You know, there are certain experiences. There are certain experiences that I'm sure VR is going to go ahead and afford people that they can't get anyplace else. Right?
I just don't want like a Cloverfield experience when I'm playing fucking video games.
Shaky cam.
Or a Blair Witch Project. Fuck that. When I'm gaming. There is no immersion that's possible for me to just eliminate the shakiness and fucking and like, look, that shit said nauseating. Yeah, I'm fucking done now.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing about it is that, you know, I can only imagine, you know, that after a while, especially if you're playing something that's actually going to encourage the VR experience, where it's like, look here, look down, look up, look side. All right, that after having that set of goggles, okay, no matter how light they are, okay, that's going to tire your fucking neck out, okay.
Yeah.
And I've had the shit cranked out of my neck. I've been choked unconscious before. That type of headache stays with you for a while.
Yeah. So let the Excedrin addictions begin.
For example, I mean, just wearing headsets for more than an hour. I mean, three of us have headsets on now. You know, that's about
your phone.
But here's the thing: these things, they're almost weightless. All right. The ones
about something that you are basically Scott Summers over your eyes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Completely.
I mean, what's the average weight for what a VR headset anyway? Maybe what, 5 pounds, 6 pounds?
Well, let's see.
And even if it's not that heavy, that is still prolonged weight on something that's not supposed to support it.
Yeah. You know, I mean, let's see here. Well, let's see here. I'm looking at specs right now for the between the three, and all I see is resolution specs. All right.
It doesn't say weight.
Yeah, they don't say weight.
And it won't. I'm gonna say around anywhere from 1.5 pounds to 3 pounds.
See, the thing about it is, people said that it was light, but they didn't have that shit on for longer than maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
They were sampling it. But to have that shit on, oh God. Yeah.
I am not looking like this to play a fucking game. Okay?
I'm
just telling you right now. Okay?
There are going to be a lot of YouTube posts.
You know what?
In ridiculous spots.
You know what?
I'm not going to look like a freaking out-of-work fucking welder with 2 fucking glow sticks at a fucking club to fucking play a game, okay? That's all I gotta say. All right.
Let the begin.
No. That's the porn edition of Tron right there.
I'm telling you.
On one hand, I had the anal dominator. On the other one, I had the tickler.
I'm telling you, the Scott Summers Cyclops X-Men type of thing. That would be a cool game if you were Cyclops and you were eye-beaming everyone with that shit on, but I don't see that happening.
No.
Imagine if that game was made by Treasure. You'd end up getting neck spasms.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
it's true.
Like you were saying, Reverend, you know, I mean, those games are going to make you look up, down, left, right, you know, during the game. Your neck is going to be killing you, man.
Wait. Is it gonna be body sensitive like you guys were saying earlier, as far as having a camera on you and having to duck and move and tuck and roll?
With the HTC Vive, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
The HTC Vive, like I said, your entire room, whatever space you're in, becomes the game space.
Yep.
Is it gonna be able to chase us?
Because if I woke up looking like that,
I have to kill it.
I don't care what it does. It's not worth the price that you have to pay to get it.
Well, not for all the shit that you have to get for the fucking thing. or the requirements of your fucking PC.
Look,
Yeah.
all I know is that I've seen a lot of people's apartments, and they're small, okay? There's no way they're going to be able to sit there and make a setup in majority of people like that, all right?
See, and like the Reverend said, today I have to actually rearrange a room just to play a game. It's not worth it, you know?
Yeah.
You know, forgive me for being old school, but I am very well happy to sit on my couch and look at a 60-inch screen.
See, that's what console gaming was.
With one of these, I'm perfectly happy.
Everybody pulled out their controller.
I am perfectly happy. I am.
For me personally, I think VR would probably work best in an arcade environment if they existed anymore. If they would have been in the arcades wouldn't be dead. They would actually have gotten a boost from all these new games coming.
That's the problem. Arcades are dead. So what other way to demonstrate this stuff?
Look, virtual on arcade in VR.
Yeah.
Yep. Game over.
Yeah, yep. I would have done that.
I would have been all board with that too.
I would have. Yeah.
House of the Dead in VR.
Oh my God, dude.
Time crisis.
I can't imagine playing the Wheel of Fate in VR. That would.
Oh yeah, you show up behind you. You got to turn around and keep you. Oh yeah.
Look. I played that with a theme, and look.
Oh my God, we had this arcade in Japan mesmerized because of it. I'm telling you, House of Dead.
I can only imagine.
We were trying to shotgun that motherfucker to bits. Oh my God.
But yeah, that's
so much
thing
on that.
VR should have just been in the arcade, stayed there, and been fine.
Well, it could have came home when the technology would have been perfected
and cheaper.
Okay, here's the thing about it. In the late 90s, VR was supposed to be a thing, and the Virtual Boy kind of torpedoed that shit because it wasn't successful. People were not going to try it again until later. Now it's 20 fucking years ever since the Virtual Boy. So
and it's still outlandishly expensive.
Yeah. Well, unless you want to go ahead and go with like Google Cardboard, or if you don't mind spending the money for a new Galaxy S7.
And getting the VR thing for that. Yeah,
exactly.
It's just too expensive. I mean, you would think after 20 years, like the thing was saying, you would think after 20 years later, the VR thing would have been perfected and up to a point to where it'd be cheaper for the average gamer.
No, because back then, if they would have put out VR like they're doing now, let alone the kind of PC you'd have to build, because the specs wouldn't exist.
Yeah. Look at the graphics back then. Polygon.
Yeah, it wouldn't have worked. It would not have worked.
No, I'm not saying.
I mean, I love virtual racing, but I couldn't imagine that shit in VR.
No, what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that they should have built up on it, but somebody somewhere should have perfected that technology. We're in 2016. There's no reason why nobody should have been working on VR.
There's still no DeLoreans. There's still no
hover cars.
Hoverboards. I mean, all the way back in the
shoes that tie itself.
In the 20s, they said that we would be flying cars by the 80s.
Hey, if everybody would have listened to Nikola Tesla, maybe we would have.
Hey.
Yeah, and he would have also built the fucking death ray.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. With that, now how do we go ahead and equate fucking VR to a death ray? It's technology.
We just did.
All right. That's how it is. Okay. Technology always moves that way, because the next thing that'll happen is that once they do perfect technology, this is what'll happen to Gray Mouse. All right. They're going to use it for fucking drones. All right.
Well, they're going to use the technology to kill people.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So
it's just the way it is.
That's how they're going to perfect it.
That's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Metal Gear, anybody?
Yeah.
Up until that point, you know what? Like I said before, where's the real money in VR nowadays after everybody gets set up?
Military.
Porn.
Okay.
That's going to be the money.
He's right. He's absolutely right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, to wrap it up, guys.
To wrap it up, thank you again. If you've kept up with us in the video this long, you know, thank you for spending a little bit of time with us. We've only got 1 minute and 30 seconds left. You know, make comments below, subscribe below, vote.
We don't disable comments.
No, we do not.
Thumbs up, thumbs down. Look, don't thumbs down and track me away like social justice warriors do.
Nah.
Leave a comment.
Nah, don't do that.
Give us your opinions because we value opinions.
Hey, by all means, maybe we missed something. By all means,
Yes.
shoot it out.
Yep. Or we misrepresented something.
Yep. Alrighty. With that, I am the Reverend.
This is the theme here.
This is Gray Mouse 1.
Theory 515.
Yes.
Go ahead and close this out, team.
Credits.